Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Sim Racers Asia GTE Series here at Suzuka International Racing Course. Here for the Sim Racers Asia GTE Championship. My name is Scott Newton, and alongside me tonight is Wei Han and Marco Barbanera. Welcome, fellas. GTE cars around Suzuka. Looks as though it's going to be a pretty fun combination for tonight's event.
Absolutely. Hello everybody and welcome wherever you are in the world. We are having a great day here, 23 degrees, clear skies and no wind. It's going to be an all-out battle between these 29 drivers around one of the most challenging circuits in all of the world. Track temperature is in the 40s, so it's going to be a little bit slippery, but these cars, have got great aerodynamics, and I think we are in for a cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we've come to, like you said, one of the legendary circuits out here in Japan here. Of course, we've got a combination of all sorts of tricky, difficult corners, the S's here from turns 1 to perhaps turns 4 and 5, as well as the infamous 130R corner, which is probably going to throw some drivers off later today.
Definitely.
I had sorry, Scott.
No, so I was just going to say that, yeah, taking a look at last week's event, we saw that there were some great battles throughout, especially Abirafti Putra definitely going late on the brakes. So it just goes to show you that some drivers can be quite aggressive, but also very fair as well. So we'll be definitely seeing lots of heavy braking action, especially into turn 1. Bit of a tricky entry, but also tightening as well as into the Casio triangle, going too wide into there. That's going to be very exciting to see.
Well, I have the privilege to call every 2 weeks the Racing Le Mans series here on Wednesday, and this week I was calling the action from Suzuka as well. And I have to say, yes, the LMP1 cars are great, and the HPDs provide close battles, but nothing beats the action in the GT class. So today we are bringing you 29 of the best Asian drivers or living in the Asian region in the world right now. So I expect we are going to have some great battles all over the field with the prototypes out of the way. We should be getting close battles top to bottom. Of course, like you said, Scott, we have some great racing at Spa-Francorchamps last week. It's going to provide this, I think, for a different kind of racing, because we are in a track where you basically have to use the first part of the lap to set up the pass in the second part of that lap. Because first corner, double right-hander with 2 apexes closing on you, no way you can pass there unless you are very brave. Then there are the S's, and there you just have to follow the car in front. Then the double right-hander under the bridge, there also little to no space available. But then you've got the hairpin section, spoon corner, and 130R Casio triangle. There you can really make your pass.
Sure, I'll be looking forward to look at some passes that may unfold all the way up to the Casio triangle. Of course, there's also the corner where some dramatic passes in motorsports history have been made, and I'm sure we're going to see some similar ones tonight.
Yeah, the trouble spot is going to be, of course, 130R. You talked about it in the beginning, because usually when two drivers get there side by side, one has to give way unless they want to touch, and it's going to be disaster. But I am expecting also 3 wides there, because don't forget that we get there after the second longest straight on the track, that being the straight that you get after Spoon Curve that you see right here. So it's going to be interesting. Luckily there is a pretty wide runoff area there, and it's made of tarmac, so if guys go out of their way, they should be able to re-enter the track safely. But if there is contact, you really risk of the decent hit with the wall on the left side. So it's going to be a very scary moment, and I think that the drivers will have. It won't be easy for them, but if you wait just a little bit, and try to make your pass at the Casio triangle, you're gonna be much better for it.
Sure, it's all about the patience. Sorry, Scott, please go.
I was just going to say, just before we wrap up qualifying, taking a look at the championship standings. After the last round at Spa, Mark Bidet currently leads a very small margin over Yasmin Yali, 2 points separating those two drivers. Andrew Ambadar for Wylab Motorsport running at the podium on 132 points. Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira sits in 4th. Lachlan Crowe in 5th. And Simon Paez Sanchez in 6th. Kevin Wang for Eurasia Sim Sports in a 3-way tie between himself, Sanchez, and Kaksi. Ahmad Nirazam, sorry, it's a 4-way tie. Just having a double check of that, and Abirafti Putra running up the top 10. So very close battles between the top, I would say 20 drivers actually, because of the fact that there's not very many gaps between each of the drivers, given that fact that we've only just had 2 rounds completed.
Yeah, and we also have to take into account that we only ran 10 rounds, so you know that points are going to be so important, and it's imperative that you don't leave any point on the table. Basically, you want to be consistent in every race. The good thing is that we are following the official iRacing Le Mans Series schedule, so these guys have had all week basically to even have some race practice in race conditions. They will know the track very well, hopefully by the end of the week, which is of course when we are racing. So the priority should be to get your mistakes at a minimum, and if you can do that, I mean, 10 rounds will not give you the opportunity to fight back if you have one or, God forbid, 2 bad races over the course of the 10 race season. So consistency, and once again consistency. We are expecting, or not expecting, we will have a 1-hour race as per usual, and of course it's going to be a one-stopper for all of these guys who are going to take fuel and, who knows, maybe tires. I don't think so, but we never know what the different strategies will play. We know that with 40 degrees track temperature it's going to be hard for these guys to manage tire wear, but these are cars that are designed to run 24-hour races and usually are able to do more than 2, maybe sometimes even 3 stints on a single set of tires. So of course different strategies will play out and we will have a great race. We are also waiting on the end of qualifying, 30 seconds left, and the drivers then that are on a flying lap will have the chance to finish said lap. So in about, I think, 1 minute or so we are going to be able to give you the starting grid for this 3rd round of the championship.
Fantastic. With 1 minute left to qualifying at the moment, we have Niranjan Kumar who leads the qualifying tables here with 1 minute 54.529, and not too far behind our drivers, all within 1 or 2 seconds of his lap time, all the way down to the top 15.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds between position 1 and position 15, and there's 1 second, basically 0.6 of a second between P1 and P9. So, you know, it's a close battle all the way, and I always say it's beautiful to have the 3 manufacturers well represented, or hopefully is the same this week, with the Ford, Ferrari and Porsche also evenly matched. We saw that at Spa-Francorchamps. We are expecting more of the same here. Of course, we've seen the Porsche a bit more popular than the other cars this season because, of course, it's the new car and also is extremely loud, and that posed a problem even for us in the broadcast booth because it's so loud that we are not joking. Sometimes it covers our voices and we have to take precautionary measures to hear each other in the commentary booth.
Yeah, well, we'll have to be a bit louder than tonight. Just not too loud that the neighbors start to check on us.
Well,
just-
I think that in your part of the world, it's time to go to sleep, whilst here, it's time to take the afternoon nap, the siesta. So,
Sorry, Scott. Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if there is any audio issues, please feel free to let us know in the chat, and we'll get that sorted as soon as we can. Just seen that Silvestri just put in a lap, and it looks as though that qualifying has come to a conclusion. See that was it Renfre's just diving into the pit lane as well. So I'll just wait for the session to change over, and we'll be able to bring you the grid.
just a few seconds left to wait as we see some beautiful panoramic shots of this great venue. Changed a little bit over the years, but still has the character of a great racetrack. Of course, Japan has a lot of amazing racetrack like Sugo or Autopolis, all tracks that I really love, and I would really love to see in a racing sooner rather than later, because they provide for amazing racing. Especially Sugo is going to be, I think could be a fun addiction for all the different categories here on iRacing. I think we got like 15 seconds left before we have the qualifying results on your screens, hopefully, and then we will be ready to race, of course, flying start as per usual here.
So Naranjan Kumar takes the pole position for Eurasia Sim Sports on a 1 minute 54.529. Alongside him, Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira for Macau Sim Racing. Yasmin Yali in third place. Peter Klawita in fourth position. Ahmed Nurazem in fifth. Grant Crow is in sixth place. Corey Ott, decent qualifying for him, in seventh for Bushwink Racing. Eighth, Mike Burdett, Martin Silvasi, and Chris Whitaker running at the top 10. Paul Tajavara, Ben Wilkinson in 12th, Lachlan Crowe, Matt Morris, Leonard Cuxey, Michael Hammond, Tim Shanowski, Alex Pohl, Kevin Wong, and Daniel Lett rounding out the top 20. 21st was Simon Jorge Sanchez, Brian Rent was in 22nd, Matt Shanowski, Jamal Gandauer in 24th, Eusebio Gregory in 25th, Paul Nelson 26th, Fuji Saltano in 27th, 28th, Stephen Grimmer, and Hugo Silva Jr. rounding out the field with no time set.
So it's a strong field, a big field, and we hope that everything will go smoothly in the first few corners. Of course, in the Le Mans series on Wednesday, we saw a GTE crash at the Casio Triangle when the pace car was entering the pits. So hopefully we will avoid that, and we have all the competitors take the start, because this is looking like a tasty race, as I think the pace car is just about to roll from the backstretch, and here she goes. So we are getting ready for the start of this race.
Brilliant. As they start from, of course, this corner, 130R. Keep your eyes peeled as the cars go through this corner for many times over the next hour. Of course, now the car leads you down this stretch. Of course, this stretch being the last part of this circuit, it's going to be quite an interesting part of the circuit where we may see a lot of last-minute passes, big moves that may happen along the way. Of course, now the pace car is going to take the cars through the final chicane before going into the pits.
Everybody very careful there.
Goes cars in the pits, Niranjan Kumar. As you go through the start-finish line now, green flag, Niranjan Kumar leads a field ahead of Justin Jolly, who's made the jump from P3 to P2. Leonardo Lopez Oliveira drops to P3 as we have a side-by-side right now between Ahmad Norzan and Peter Cloutes, and turn one into the S's. Everyone going through quite smoothly here. Really nice battle going here.
Couple of cars around, one at the exit of the second corner, another car is in the grass entering the S's. But apart from that, I think that everybody is fine. We see, I think, Hop having a little bit of a drive through the dirty stuff there. Very slow. Now it's back on the racing line, while at the front these guys are really nose to tail with each other, trying to get and set up a pass opportunity for the next couple of corners after the double right-hander.
Of course, Leonardo Oliveira sitting in P3 now ahead of Armand Norizam, as he's now within perhaps a 4-car battle from P1 to P4 as they now approach this very tight right-hander. Key to get a good exit here before he tries to reapproach, trying to set up a move to take Justin Jolly, who sits in P2.
So through spoon they go for the first time. It looks as though that Lopez de Oliveira went a little bit wide, but managed to get it back onto the curb there. Decent line for him, but it looks as though that Yali is just able to pull that little bit of a gap. He was about 400ths quicker in that fifth sector, heading into Cassia Triangle now to complete that number 1. Everyone making it through safely, and Naranjan Kumar first lap time will be a 1 minute 53.45, so 8/10 of a second gap as they cross the start finish line. So a healthy lead for Kumar at this end of the first lap. It was Lopez de Oliveira goes deep and loses the back end, so an unfortunate error for him, but he manages to rejoin safely back in, just at 7th place.
Yeah, lost a little bit of time there. As you see the gaps on your left side of your screen, you see all the with the scoring tower. See Ferrari, Ford, Porsche, all the manufacturers are represented.
So yeah, the
So
majority.
it does look to me to be looks to be quite dominated by Ferrari here in the top 5 or top 6 of the grid.
Yeah, I'd say that top 2 obviously Porsches, and then I would say at least 5 of the 10, or sorry, 6 of the 10 cars within the top 10 are Ferraris. So yeah, it's heavily dominated by Ferrari and Porsche up the front. But yeah, the first Ford GTE is 13th in Matt Shanoski.
Of course, there's Leonardo. Moving to Lachlan Crowe here as he. That's one of the battles that are unfolding here along the mid-pack. Oh, and another driver has fallen victim to the exit of the spoon corner, of course, Marco. The spoon corner looks to be quite a wide corner, but it's actually off camber. So drivers have to actually take less speed through the corner than they think they have to.
I have tried this corner many times this week, both with the GTE cars and the LMP1 cars, and I cannot figure it out. So it's basically you have to go to the trick. You have 2 curbs on the outside and 1 curb on the inside. You have to go outside, inside, outside. It looks easy on paper, but it's such a difficult corner going down the hill with a little bit of banking. You never know exactly how well you are placing your car. And then on the exit it closes on you, so it's quite easy to go wide, and you know that may be the most important corner of the track because it follows the second longest straight and that premium passing opportunity going into 130R and then the Casio triangle.
Absolutely, a corner that really demands a lot of respect from any driver who attempts to attack that corner. Of course, now Lina Kaxi sits behind Team Shinoski as they now head to these 2 corners. Hard on the curbs he goes.
Yeah, just running a little bit wide on the exit of Technet 2. Leonard Cuxey as he's coming up to 180R now. Getting a good exit out of there. It was a pretty tidy line for him as he's about 0.6 of a second behind Tim Shanoski. I see this huge battle for 10th at the moment, just on your screen. The closest out of those is between Cuxey and Shanoski at the moment. But yeah, everyone within a second or so. That will be providing a little bit of fuel saving, hopefully. As the draft will play a bit of a factor with that. But Having said that though, there will be a little bit of a limited opportunity for overtaking at this stage. See a little bit further back. Who is that trying to go through? Is that Daniel Leet? Yeah, making the move into 130. That's a great move for him. Drive for Stealth Sim Sport, or Stealth Sim Force. Moving up into 16th place. Up 4 positions currently from where he started.
It was a great move there by Daniel for making that daring pass through 130. Of course, that corner is not where you usually pass unless you're on top of your car well, and of course that corner demands as much respect as the spoon corner. And of course, he now heads to the start of the SS again. Key to get a good line here, trying to balance between line as well as throttle application to get the most out of this series of corners.
Looking at the battle between Alex Pohl and Kevin Wug at the moment as they're heading up to the Degner 1 complex. Looks as though that Kevin managed to pull just that little bit of a gap on Alex last time around, so good exit for him. And he's actually managed to close up to the back of Leonard Cutsey, so that Ford GTE is doing a very, very solid job at the moment. Kevin up 5 places from where he started at the moment, so he's doing a very, very solid job.
Absolutely. Now let's have a look at how Kevin attacks this spoon corner. Of course, this driver is going to, as we've just said, that he's gone a slight bit wide there on the middle of the corner over the curbs, but he gets quite a good exit here, and he now sits in the slipstream of Leonard Cutsey. Marco.
Yeah, let's see if he will try for a move here. He has the speed. I would stay put if I were him. He stays put. Gotta just tap the brakes a little to make the corner down on the outside of the Casio triangle, and he makes the pass with cooperation from his opponent. I think smart decision there.
Absolutely, purely gentleman move there by both drivers. Great driving by both of them.
Of course, we talk about this a lot. It's a 1-hour race, so if there's a guy that's faster than you, no point in holding him behind you and maybe having some contact. Let him go, and maybe you get him back later in the race with better tire management, with strategy. So good decision all around.
Exactly, it's just a case of taking 1 step back to take 2 steps forward. Of course, now Lachlan Crow and Tim Shinowski going side by side through this, as it's not too sure if that's the most smartest driving decision there, because right now they've got Lachlan has Kevin all the way hot at his rear end.
And this is another set of corners where it's very, very easy to get the second part especially wrong, because it seems like you have a lot of exit room, but you have only that darker green available basically. Go to the lighter green, you get an incident point, and if I am not mistaken, you get 20 incident points here total. So you have to be very precise and not get disqualified, because that can be an issue, of course, later in the race.
Yeah, definitely, especially on the exit of Degner 2 in open wheelers, or even the exit of Degner 1. It is very, very difficult for the car to pull up, especially if you bottom out on those curbs. So, yeah, obviously a lot easier in these GTE cars, but yeah, those Degner corners are quite menacing if you happen to get it wrong.
Having a look at Mike Burdett, who sits in fourth. He's coming under pressure from Martin Silvassi, who's back in fifth. Both drivers having made 4 positions up from where they've qualified. And now they also, again, through this SS section, trying to get the right line, and yep, going good so far. Martin Silvassi still trying to hang on to, or rather, Mike's still trying to hang on to P4 with pressure from Martin.
Yeah, a lot of pressure here. Again, you know that the car behind you has no way of passing you unless he makes a huge lunge, and here is the same, but from this corner onwards it's game on. Especially you can easily go for a pass at the hairpin if you have the speed. Of course, similar cars, both Ferraris, so it's not going to be a huge difference. But then you get this great section here with this very fast right-hander, then the spoon, and then the backstretch. So now it's really a question of how Burdett is going to defend and if he will be able to defend going into 130R.
Amazing. Let's have a ride on Martin Suvassi's car and let's see how he's going to take this. All right. Tries to see the slipstream of Mike Burdett, although Mike seems to be clinging on to his advantage ahead of course now Mike, the slipstream has been starting to kick in. Martin Suvassi inching forward, but the straight is not long enough for him to make a move, as they've just gone past 130R and now they approach this castle triangle. So perhaps Martin not too close enough, and they may have to wait for the next lap to make the move.
Yeah. No LMP1 boost on the front stretch, so you have to stay put there. And once again, this first corner looks so inviting on paper, but if we stay on board, we will see how the banking and how narrow it gets, especially on the exit here. And then it sends you on the left side, so impossible to make. You can make a pass there, but you have to be very brave, and you have to be ready for some unwanted consequences.
Second one and two, they go hard over the curbs, go both cars and eating this curve up as well. Great exit there, nailing it right on the dark green section as they head to this slight right kick before braking hard for this hairpin. Of course, this hairpin is not as easy as it looks. It's a simple hairpin, but you'll actually have to take a slightly wider line instead of going right across the apex for you to carry the speed across to this high speed section slot.
Yeah, definitely. Having raced here earlier today in an open wheeler league, that hairpin is quite inviting, but yeah, due to the off-camber nature of the corner, it's definitely wants to make the car over rotate just that little bit more than you want, and yeah, you just got to be very careful of that, as it will turn the car around, especially when you try to get back on the power. But yeah, luckily Salvasi and Burdett managed to navigate it through quite well last time around, but yeah, Salvasi running a little bit deep there into Casio Triangle, maybe cost him at least 3 or 4 tenths of a second over Burdett last time around.
You know, I am an oval guy, so I love that most of the corners on this track have got some banking in them. Makes for a different approach every time. You can be a little bit closer to the apex, you can take it a little bit on the outside and have a better exit. I absolutely love this track. Even though it doesn't have a lot of elevation change, it still provides for some challenging corners by not being flat, which is, I mean, the problem with most modern tracks. And like I said in the beginning, proper old school track, even after the works they've done to it, I think it was, well, 15 years ago, more or less, so it's not that recent anymore. But yeah, great little track in Japan. It's probably the biggest track they have in Japan. So. Oh, the beautiful Coca-Cola Porsche. I missed that today.
It looks amazing.
I absolutely loved it at Spa-Francorchamps, and now he's back on the screen. Paul Nelson, Pan Pacific Sim Racing, sitting in P21 and trying to get around the Ford GTE of Gandour here for P20. In the more traditional Ford official Chip Ganassi Racing colors.
Of course, Jamal Gandour here, he may be running the paint scheme, the traditional paint scheme, although he runs under the flag. His team is actually a Sim Racing Middle East, although I'm not too sure if he's got a paint scheme prepared for that. Because he sits currently in P20, Paul Nelson in 21st, and I think they're going to have quite a good battle here as they approach a spoon corner. Nailing the racing line there, fantastic driving by both of them.
on board with the screaming Porsche. On the inside, looking good. Let's see, beautiful camera shot here.
It's side by side here. Ooh! Oh man, that was so close. Paul
And
Nelson clings on.
Yeah,
P20.
they both made it through that corner. For 1 second, I was afraid that was going to be a pile-up. Great driving, a little bit of door banging, which I'm always in favor of, and Nelson gets his position.
Yep, a bit too close to be comfortable, but of course now riding with Paul Tarchavara. If I got that name correct. He sits in P16, 5 positions down from where he started, and yes, he's got quite a bit of gap to close up to Peter Clawiter sitting ahead of him.
Yeah, Clawiter lost 11 positions. I think he was the guy who went around in the exit of the second corner. I saw a guy in the grass when I was looking from an aerial shot of the start. So he's got a lot of ground to make, and it's not easy. He's very, very close to Caxi, so yeah, now he got past him just as of this moment. So you know he's on a mission. He's going to be a car to watch for the rest of the race.
Sure, because he's actually started all the way up at, I believe, P4, but he has like spinning and dropped his position. But of course, Peter has actually made quite significant gains in terms of his driving performance over the past year, I believe. He started with around 2,000 I rating, and now he's all the way up to perhaps 2,500 odd. So yeah, 2,743 I rating. So I believe he has the pace to push all the way back up to the front of the grid.
Yeah, still early days, 17 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock. We are going to see the pit stops as usual, as late as possible with these cars. It is usually the modus operandi in this category, but some drivers maybe will try for an earlier stop, and this will give us some sort of confused classification until the very end of the race, and of course this is going to pose a problem for some of the early stoppers, especially if you are one of the front runners and decide to stop early for whatever reason. You might have to fight your way through traffic that's fighting you for position, so in the end the undercut might not prove as beneficial as in other categories, especially if you don't take tires, which once again it's what I expect. These guys will only take fuel and not take tires. Got a replay here, Alex Paul with a Ferrari. Just a bit wide, in the gravel, 1 position lost. And you see his teammate right behind him, he gives way to his teammate as well, I think, yes.
Yeah,
so, little mistake and 2 positions gone. Sorry, Scott.
No, I was just going to say that was caused by Peter Clawiter just peeking his nose up into Dunlop there, and yeah, Alex being aware of his surroundings and gave a bit of room, but yeah, unfortunately that pushed him that little bit wide, and unfortunate for Alex to fall those couple of positions, but yeah, he's still in the top 15.
I think Crow is really close to Hot, which in turn is really close to Shinoski, so we are having a 3-way battle here for P10, Ford, Ferrari and Porsche.
Right, out inside goes Grand Crow to make that position, and of course he's made 1 position up ahead of the Ford GT. Brilliant move there. Marco, what were you saying about making a move at T1?
Yeah, you have to be very, 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 very brave. I wouldn't try that. I'm sorry. I know it's going to end in the gravel trap, and you know, if I get in the gravel trap and destroy my car, okay, but I would feel terrible if I took somebody with me there. So I really admire these guys for what they are trying to do, and that was a very, very, very great move. Let's see the replay once again, because this deserves a replay on the inside. And the Porsche gets the move done. Beautiful, beautiful driving there.
I just seen it in the
I think we have a problem with the leader.
oh, just trying to find it now. Is it coming up into Spoon Curve now? Just looking at the leader. Oh, he's just lost the back end of it.
Oh!
Oh man.
And he's flicked it around. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem with Kumar. Just losing the back end and manages to regain to the track. Unfortunately, back in 7th place, he was looking very, very strong. But yeah, just with that little mistake, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that Spoon Curve is going to be one of those tricky corners, and yeah, unfortunately, Kumar's paid the price and finds himself in 7th place.
Yeah, good for him that he didn't make contact with the wall, but he lost a lot of positions down to P7, and now another driver to keep an eye on, because he will have to make up some ground, just like Klauiter for his crash at the beginning of the race. So this promotes everybody up one spot. Jali is in the lead, Musaram is in 2nd, and Shilvasi is in 3rd position.
Yeah, I've just seen that Savasi's passed Burdett within the last half a lap, so yeah, here we go. Good exit for Savasi out of the Casio triangle, and into the draft he goes. Does he look inside? Yes, he does. He's got half a car width up there. Burdett squeezing him, but yeah, Savasi manages to take the line, and good move there for him, Savasi, to move himself up into the final podium position.
Goes some brilliant driving there. Now Mike Burdett, Martin Savasi sits in P3, pushing Mike Burdett out of the podium as Martin now tries to make his way up to Jocelyn and Ahmad, who sits in P1 and P2.
So far, nobody has entered the pits except for Matt Szynovsky and Kevin Wang.
I'm not exactly used to seeing Kevin Huang sitting at that position at P24, because usually he'd be one of the contenders for the race lead, but I think it's been a bit against him, not on his side for this season, so it might have been a bit of a hit to his racing performance this season.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that he's not in a McLaren for this season. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Typically we see Kevin don the McLaren, usually one of the only drivers in this series to take the McLaren, and all the power to him, to be fair. The way that he's able to muscle that car around the track is one to behold, and yeah, it's unfortunate that he sits currently in 24th at the moment. Possibly had a bit of contact in the early going as they're coming up to lap number, well, he's coming up to start lap number 13, but as I said, yeah, he's doing a solid job adapting to the new GTEs, but yeah, it's just unfortunate that he sits 24th at the moment.
Because Niranjan Kumar, former race leader, and now he's down to P7, a bit of unfortunate there as he comes under pressure from Grant Crow. Of course, both drivers having a lot of pace, both fast drivers. Porsche versus Porsche. I think I'm starting to not be able to hear myself as they take full throttle through this straight leading up to the 130R. Grant Crow not close enough, not enough slipstream as they now head to this final backstretch here. Yeah, I guess it's just not close enough to make a move, and hard on the brakes they go to the Casio triangle.
Just looking a little bit further back up to the front. Silvasi's managed to close up to the back of Nurazam. The last lap time for Silvasi was 7/10 quicker than Nurazam last time around, so Silvasi's managed to find just a little bit extra that's enabled him to close back up to the back of Nurazam. We've got a Wilo Motorsport 1-2 at the moment, with Trick Sim Sports in third. So yeah, good strong showing there from Wilo Motorsport at the moment. But yeah, hard on the brakes they go into the 180R hairpin. Gap at the moment sits at about 0.46 of a second. So that's the wrong graphic. And we got Burdett closely following behind. If these two tangle, Burdett will be looking to profit due to those two mistakes.
Yeah, I think that this has officially become a three-way battle for second position. The leader will of course benefit from this greatly, because I think that these guys are going to begin a fight. I think in a 1 or 2 laps time they are already fighting, even though it's just by being close to each other, but the overtaking maneuvers are going to start really soon. And you see great defending here on the inside, and then on the outside Charlie Whiting would not be happy with that, but luckily this is not Formula 1.
I think Nim Cross wouldn't be happy with that as well. Yeah, because Nurazam holds on to P2, but of course he's hot. Martin Silvasi is hot on his gearbox at the moment. Because if you have a look at the live chat, broadcast chat here, you can see his team boss rooting for him in this race.
See that Corey Ott just had a small mistake. You go back on the replay now, as he's coming up to turn number 1 now. Entering into turn number 1. Oh, he's just lost the back end, or is luckily he's got right off there. And yeah, unfortunately he manages to keep it out of the wall. So great job from Corey there. But yeah, he's already lost 3 positions. He's probably going to lose another couple. But he rejoins back in 14th. So an unfortunate mistake for him, but yeah, currently this is 14th and looking to get back up to where he was originally.
Yeah, all the good work undone by that mistake. And once again, another lucky Porsche that avoids the wall. Could have been much worse for him. Back on the track, and now he's got Paul and Caxi right in front of him, so he will have his work cut out for him to make up those positions once again.
Yeah, he's got 2 Ferraris sitting ahead of him, 2 Italians versus 1 German car. Marco, who are you rooting for?
I think that the Ferrari GTE is my favorite car on the road side.
Sure.
But in Formula 1, I root for everybody except Ferrari.
Oh.
So I am an atypical Italian, as Ott goes for the move and then makes up his mind. So yeah, I am the least Italian ever.
That's amazing.
I love Ferrari cars, but I don't like Ferrari as a racing team. So.
Because this looks like a 3-way freight train here, as it's led by Leonard Coxey, a 3-way slipstream here. Say until this corner, of course. Like you said earlier, this is a section where they have to set themselves right, try to get as little gap, try to close the gap among one another as much as possible before they head past the Degner and the hairpin.
Yeah, we know that Hot has in him some pretty extravagant moves, and he is trying to get the best of Alex Paul here. I don't think he will try for a move, although it's very close on the outside, not exactly the pace where you want to be there. Maybe he lost a little bit of momentum by Oh, man.
Oh, that's scary.
That was scary. Yeah, I think it was better for him to stay put, and I think he would have had a great run to make the pass at the hairpin. Again, you see, left and right, he's really in trouble with his tires, I think, after that off he had a couple of laps ago, is still trying to get those tires back to regular temperature and get all the dirt and the marbles off of them. And now he's got to look behind because once again he's slipping and sliding, and the two Ferraris go almost exactly together wide.
Flashing lights
between teammates. Not something you see every day.
All right, not side by side here, so a bit respectful by them, because now it looks like Lena Kaxi has started to pull slightly away through the 130R.
Yeah, the two Ferraris both went wide on the exit of Spoon. I think that Kaxi went a little bit wider than his teammates, so maybe those flashing lights were like, let's keep concentrating on a race, don't worry. I hopefully they are on the radio together, and now car in the grass there, and the Ferrari goes around. Oh, that was a terrible commentator curse on my part. Kaxi goes around. I was saying maybe he was trying to get back on his rhythm after making the mistake at Spoon, but he went around. I don't think he hit the wall there, but he lost a lot of time. Back to P15 now, and that was at the same time there was another Ferrari going for a ride in the grass right in front of them. I don't know if that was for position or for or was a lap car, as Ott and Paul once again bumper to bumper.
Just going to mention that.
Sorry.
I was just going to say that that's also allowed Tajivara to close back in onto the back of this pair of Pole and Ott. Last lap time for Tajivara was a 1:56.7. Compare that to Ott and Pole. A minimum of a second quicker, but Ott manages to go up the inside, but he runs off track and he'll keep that position going into the KCA triangle, just having that little overspeed into the 130R, and that will promote him up into 12th place.
Amazing stuff there by Corriot, although the exit, not exactly the cleanest exit, but he makes his position up. Though, Scott, let's have a look, move our cameras back down to have a look at the battle that may be going on between Simon Sanchez and Fuji Satoru. Because Simon and Fuji, they sit in 19th and 20th respectively. Of course, Fuji sporting that nice retro Porsche livery there as he tries to fight for P19 away from Simon Sanchez. Of course, got to thank Fuji for backing this broadcast. Without his support, this broadcast would not have been possible.
Beautiful livery that reminds me of my favorite F1 livery of all times. The mid-90s Williams was by far my favorite car when I was a little kid growing up.
Yeah, for me, I think isn't that reminiscent of the 962 as well, the Le Mans winning car as well. So yeah, definitely a livery that's steeped in history, both on the F1 and the prototype side.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was also used, this livery, for 1 or 2 seasons back in the 250cc championship by my favorite motorcycle rider of all times, Max Biaggi. I think he won his first 250cc championship by using this, when he was using this livery here.
So it sounds like this livery has a certain kind of magical powers to add 500 horsepower to your car. Of course, Fuji carrying that car in great taste. because he's a Porsche fan in real life. And as we move the cameras back to Mike Burdett now, who sits in P3 hot. I think he didn't make a pass on Ahmad Nurizam for P3 because Nurizam sits in P4 as they went hard over the curbs here at Dagner.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can find the potential overtake with Nurizam and Burdett as they're going through the start-finish line. Burdett going around the outside of Nurizam. Great move there. Nurizam trying to come back on the inside, but he just loses the back end just that little bit, and that allows Burdett to go through. So great overtake there from Burdett to move up ahead of Nurizam. So Burdett's managed to gain 5 places from where he started, so a solid effort for him, current championship leader.
Yeah, these drivers are probably listening to our broadcast because after I said that turn 1 was almost impossible to pass, we've seen 3 crazy overtaking maneuvers there. So good for them, good for us, because it's they are putting on a great show. And Mike Burdett is in 3rd position, yeah, with Nurizam very, very close. It's like 0.6 of a second behind.
Because though it does look like Justin Jolly has made a massive gap ahead of the rest of the field, because Justin Jolly holds 5 seconds ahead of Martin Silvasi. That gap is perhaps larger than the gap between Mike and P4 Ahmad Nurizam. So of course, great driving by Justin tonight. He made 2 positions from starting at P3 tonight.
Just got the time delta graphic at the moment. So over the last 5 laps or so, he's managed to pull an extra 0.8 of a second. So Yali doing a very, very consistent job. See that was at lap number 17. Might have had a small mistake, but other than that, yeah, he's been pretty consistent in consolidating his lead, and that has been built up to about 5 to 5.5 seconds as they come up to 1:30 now.
I think Nurizam made a little bit of a mistake because Burdett has pulled a gap on him, and now Lopez de Oliveira is closing on the driver of car number 87. As you can see on the live pictures here, the yellow Ferrari and the green, lime green Ferrari here. So the gap was now very slow in their Oliveira, I think. Oh, because I think they are both pitting. Let's see. No, Oliveira is not. Oliveira, if I'm not mistaken, Oliveira basically stopped entering the Casio triangle there. I don't know what was going on. Nurizam is in the pits, and is the first, I think, of the top runners to get into the pit lane. And we'll see how this works for him.
The Coriot may have to be a bit more conservative with his pace because he's extremely fast, but I have a feeling that he might have been pushing his car a bit too much. Of course, he takes the right, he takes the inside here from Tim Shinowski, and yes, is he gonna clean up this move? Comes ahead of Ahmad Nurizam as he took a pit exit, and he now makes the move ahead of Tim Shinowski. Coriot, P9.
Yeah, Tajavara also in the pits, and we are slowly seeing all the top drivers getting into the pit lane. Of course, we have got, as of this moment, 20 minutes to go, so you know it's go time for the pit stops. It doesn't really make a difference right now when you stop. Again, like I said, you usually go for the stop as late as possible, but unless you have a spotter, I always say, unless you have somebody that can tell you, okay, if you pit now, you get clear track ahead, then basically when you stop, you stop. It's makes not much of a difference. The key is to not being in traffic and only by being very lucky or by having a very good spotter you can achieve this thing. As Nurazam now getting very, very close to Pro after his pit stop, trying to get position number 11.
Oh, very close indeed. Because Marco, you can listen from here. The Ferrari engine maybe not as loud as the Porsche. I'm able to actually hear myself and hear you guys here.
We are very, very lucky that Racing doesn't have the 458 Italia, the previous GTE car. As Nurazam has a moment. Wow, that was really, really close to losing the car and smashing into that inside wall. Unforgiving inside wall there. Great save by Nurazam. I had the chance to be trackside, or I was in the pits here at the local racetrack at Vallelunga that maybe some of you know, as Clearwater Racing were preparing for the 2016 Le Mans 24 Hours with their spanking new Ferrari GTE 458 Italia, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard after the V10s of the Formula 1s of like 10 years ago or so. Unfortunately, iRacing has got the more recent 488, which is a turbo engine car, so not as nearly as loud as the 458 Italia. That was, I think, my favorite Ferrari of all time.
Yeah, of course, Clearwater Racing, I mean, be glad to know that it's actually a team here from Singapore. So we are the small motorsport community here in Singapore. We're proud of them, although they're not as high profile as other teams around here. Because their livery, shining chrome,
amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, I was basically in the box with them because nobody goes to this track here at Vallelunga for testing. As Nurazam goes for the move on the inside, nobody goes to watch testing unless you are a hardcore fan like me. And we see Nurazam make the pass. Basically, Vallelunga has a long front stretch that then gets into a left-hander and into a right-hander that you take at full speed, and that takes like 1.5 kilometer, 1 kilometer of racetrack, 1.2, something like that. And when the car went at the end of that front stretch and two corners, you could hear the sound waves from the engine, as we see a car in the grass there. The sound wave from the engine go back and hitting the metal that was on the pit structures, and making like a reverberating noise. It was amazing. I miss that car.
That's great to hear. Glad you enjoyed yourself there.
It was Kumar, I think. It wasn't Kumar. He's out of the pits. He was not the car involved in that off track. I think it was one of the back markers.
Alright, who's that? He's gonna come out ahead of, right? I was expecting a pit exit battle there, but he came out quite safely there.
We start to hear the tires squeal in some of these longer corners.
Yeah, I guess it's about time with like 3/4 of the race already underway. I think the tires are starting to die out a bit. Of course, the track temperatures today were more than 40 degrees Celsius, so that could have done a lot of damage to those tires. Scott?
Yeah, definitely is. Typically, Suzuka being a high fuel burn track, to be fair, I would have expected them to be a little bit early, into the pit lane a little bit earlier than they are currently, but it looks as though that everyone's doing a very, very consistent job in terms of the fuel burn for their respective cars. I see that the top 8 haven't pitted as of yet. The leading car that has pitted is that car of Nurazam in 9th. Just waiting for the top 8 to come through to the pit lane. I see that the pit time for most of the drivers that have pitted at the moment is an average of about 37 to about 43 seconds. So I see that Corey Ott is in the pit lane now.
Yeah, Corey Ott in the pits. as is Lennart Coxey and Ben Wilkinson as well.
Having a look at Grant Crow and Peter Cowiter, of course, both teammates. Both of them, of course, representing New Zealand and Germany, respectively, but both residing in the United Arab Emirates. And they're racing their favorite Porsche 911 tonight. It was beautifully presented. Paint scheme done by Skyline Designs. Because now they approach this hairpin corner, of course, you can have a look at how Grant takes that corner. Not exactly over the curbs, just away from the curbs in order to carry through the speed through the corner.
Less than 50 minutes to go here in the race, and we still have to see a pit stop from our podium guys, Jali, Shilvasi and Bordet. And of course, Jali is in as of this moment, as is Shilvasi and is Bordet. Okay, I would not call this commentator's curse, but more like keen prediction. Everybody's in, De Oliveira, Whitaker, all the top 5 guys are in right now.
Amazing. So shall we have a look at the possible pit lane battle that may appear? Yep, Grant Crow in, Peter Cowiter in, all of them are in. So let's have a look at how long they'll spend in the pits and if they'll actually have a battle here in the pits. Right.
Yeah, very chaotic scenes there, as Nurazam is the first guy who has already pitted that is on the track and is coming in the final corner. Let's see where he will slot after all these pit movements, and he's in P5, I think. Yes. Behind Oliveira.
That's it. Now that the positions are probably more set in stone. Of course, great driving by Leonardo Oliveira, by the way, today. Of course, he back in lap 1, he lost 7 positions, but now he's made his way back up to P4. And he sits ahead of Ahmad Nurazam.
Everybody is stopping around 10 seconds, 12 seconds. Longest stop of the front runner has been Grant Crow, 16 seconds. Of course, that can vary on the amount of fuel you decide to put in. Some drivers are more conservative than others, of course, or some are better at maths than others. I am terrible, so I use third-party apps to make the calculations always, and I always keep a couple of laps of safety.
Exactly, you have to always give that buffer.
It's not like I'm in the hunt for race victories when I drive the GTE car, so it's more like bring it home after a 1 hour long race or a 40 minutes race, 45 minute race in IMSA series, and be happy with that you haven't destroyed the car. Paul Nelson once again on camera. Coca-Cola car. He was much more of a protagonist back at Spa-Francorchamps, locking the brakes here behind Shinosky, and behind him there was Wilkinson, so it's a nice three-way battle here for P15 as we are entering the final 10 minutes of this 1 hour race from Suzuka, as Paul enters the pit lane from P7, and he was the last one of the drivers on track to still make his stop. Everybody has got one stop, so after he pits and comes out of the pits, we will have the entire picture from now until the end of the race. He gets out in P12 in front of Kevin Wang, who just posted, I think, his best lap of the race, a 56.1. But it wasn't enough to make up the ground, of course, as now we have Jali, Shilvasi, Bordet, Oliveira and Nurazam making up the top 5. This is the closest battle on track, Nelson and Shinosky. And of course, always there's always a good reason to keep this beautiful Porsche on screen.
Yes, exactly. I mean, of course, drivers are fast at the pointy end of the grid, but many times you notice that good competition does not always have to be in front. It can also be in here. As we ride on this menacing sounding Porsche of Paul Nelson as he sits behind Matt Schnelski as they go over the series of deckers 1 and 2. Alright, nice over the line there. Alright, a bit of line deviation by Matt Schnelski as they now approach the airpit hard brakes.
Ooh.
Way off the apex there. Paul Nelson, although he has this stretch here to catch up with Matt Schnelski.
Yeah, it's amazing because the sound of the Porsche is so menacing, but the rear end of that Ford looks like something out of a Star Wars movie. So it's a pretty interesting contrast between these two cars.
Oh, and you just say that it goes round! Oh.
Yeah, Darth Vader will not be happy about that.
Yeah. You know, I was just about to say that it's not actually. He does look like the pig from the Angry Birds as well.
And Kevin Wang was around as well with another Ford at the same time. So someone flicked a switch. Let's see the replay. And that was weird. Let's see. It was going in a straight line.
Yeah, it must have been the last. Must have been on the last lap, unfortunately. Hang on, if I scroll all the way forward. Sorry. There's yeah, we go. So if I find the right replay, there we go.
Should be this one, yeah. Going to spoon. All fine until now. Very wide on the exit, and he goes on.
There he goes. Same fashion as well, of course. Like you said, this corner is off camber. You do not want to mess with the balance of the car. Entry, apex, or exit.
And you see in the background the other Ford going around there.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty exit curb at the second part of spoon as well. If you bottom out there, especially in the open wheeler cars, you'll either find yourself in the left-hand wall, as Kevin did, or it'll fire you into the right-hand side of the Armco barrier. And as I've found out, I think about 3 months ago at a different series that was held here in the Formula Renault 2.0. So yeah, just as they're coming through there now, everyone managing to navigate it successfully. You see that Tazavara has closed to within 0.4 of a second to Kevin Wang after his mistake. But yeah, this is the closest battle on the track at the moment. Battle between Paul Nelson in 14th and Tazavara in 17th. As well, Tazavara getting very, very close under brakes, but manages to pull it up safely and manages to continue on to start lap number 28.
Now, granted, I'm not a very good driver, but just to talk about 130R once more, it's been 1 week now, because we are on Saturday, and I've been studying telemetry.
Oh, around goes Paul. That's a nice drift, actually.
Yeah, nice save there. So I've been studying telemetry, I've been having coaching with my teammate Michele Ricci, who's one of the best GTE drivers in all of iRacing, and still on Saturday I don't know how to take that corner properly, and I lose 1.5 seconds to the best drivers in one corner. So you know how difficult it is and how important it is to get the corner right, because once again you are slow there, you are slow for the entire final part of the track at Suzuka, and you cannot afford that, especially when you are facing a tough competition like it's here today in this Sim Racers Asia GT Championship.
Yeah, it just depends.
Of course, not long. Sorry, Scott.
I was just going to say, just depending on the car, it can be flat through 130R. Actually, we'll go on board just quickly with Kevin. I see how he manages to navigate through 130R. I see that it just runs a little bit wide, but yeah, manages to get back on the track and see whether they can close up to Ben Wilkinson. That gap at the moment is about half a second at the moment, but he has to lift just that little bit to be able to get the car to turn in, but pretty solid line through there, and gets it through the Casio Triangle complex as well. So yeah, I know that in most open wheeler cars it is flat out as Wilkinson makes a small mistake, and that's going to allow Kevin to go through side by side if they go. Wilkinson just lets him through, and Kevin moves back up into the top 15, so good job for him as he runs just a little bit wide into turn 2, but gets...
Oh, come back by Ben Wilkinson. Alright, now it's going to be side by side.
Be careful, guys! Wow,
so right.
And the Ferrari has the upper end after that small mistake by Kevin.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari is just a bit more nimble through the SS section. Of course, the SS, like you said, not exactly the easiest place to make a pass, but still can be done as they now approach the diagonal corners. Of course, as usual, running over the curbs, bouncing over the curbs, a bit off wide onto the grass goes Ben. Sorry.
I think that Oliveira went past Nurazam for P4. And there was a significant gap between these two guys, so something must have happened. We have the replay on screen for you guys right now. Or maybe I'm imagining things.
Yeah, just on our timing screen it says that Nurazam had passed Lopez de Oliveira for 4th place, but then it might have been just a connection issue possibly, because it looks as though that Lopez de Oliveira is back on track.
But now he's in P3, Lopez de Oliveira, so I don't know.
See that Burdett has possibly gone off track. You go into turn 1, he goes.
Oliveira is that bright green car you see at the back of the front stretch.
Yes,
so Mike Burdett goes around.
See that there was a Ford GTE in that picture as well, so Burdett managing to get off the track, and that'll allow Lopez de Oliveira to take the final podium position as he laps the Ford GTE.
Heartbreak for Mike Burdett, losing the 3rd spot with just minutes to go, but of course Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira, what a drive, what a comeback. He started from the 2nd position and to make up a lot of ground after initial problems, and now he's back on the podium, the Macau Sim Racing driver. I think his comeback will stop here, because next car is some 10 seconds in front, Martin Silvassi, but you never know. Apart from that, we are 1 minute away from the end of the race, so it needs some mistake from the guys in front, and we see Jali, Wilab Motorsport driver, having a great day out there. He was gifted the lead, and he ran away with it.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this race, this amazing race, as we come to about the final laps, or even the final lap even of the race. Jaswin Jali, like you said, snatching the lead away from a couple of drivers. Actually, the lead changed quite a few times tonight. And of course, this is going to be an amazing storm to the finish. Jaswin Jali has a clear 4-second gap ahead of Martin Silvassi, and he has a 13th, another, I guess, 9 seconds gap ahead of Leonardo Oliveira. So the top 3 should be concrete by now.
Yeah, not long to go. Cameras are rightfully on a race leader, 4 seconds ahead of P2. Faultless race from Jaswin Jali, and just a couple of corners to manage, and he will be able to celebrate a race victory here at Suzuka.
Of course, 1:30 for the final time as he heads to this short section out. Usually many passes here, but no cars here to pass him. He holds on to the race lead as he comes through the Castle Triangle for the final time. Yasmin Jari, Wailat Motorsports, Malaysia, flashing his headlights there. Amazing drive by him all night long. He takes the race win here, round 3 at Suzuka. And Martin Suvasi settles for P2.
Yeah, great drive for him. 7 positions gained. We are waiting for Oliveira, and here he comes. As we see the final battle, I think, of the day, it's Alex Paul and Lachlan Crow. Getting desperate to make the move is Paul wide there on the entrance of Spoon Curve. He will have to he needs a massive run. Car in front of him and flashing his headlights to the lapper, I think, in front of them, but that lapper is far away. It will not be problematic. We'll see if Paul goes for a move on the inside of the Casio Triangle. He thought about it, but then wisely pulled out of that move, and he will have to settle for P12 in the end. Crow gets P11.
Mr. Coca-Cola sitting
Yeah.
P14 behind Lynette Coxey.
12 positions gained by Paul, so in the end net positive for his race. Wang also crosses the start-finish line. We are waiting for a bunch of drivers. Wilkinson, Shinowski, Lit, and I think Sartono, Gandur, Graima, and Reinforce are all the drivers we are waiting for. No, just Lit, I think, because all the other drivers are one lap down. Here comes Shinowski and Lit, and I think that everybody has come home safely. More or less.
More or less. No, I don't think it was a safe race for every single driver. Of course, this was a race full of action. A lot of fist fights, a lot of bumping here and there. Of course, Suzuka is one tough animal here that you have to have a lot of respect for.
As we are waiting to give you the final results of this third race meeting of this season, and of course we already give you the date for next week. It's going to be Road America, my favorite North American racetrack by far, and it's going to be amazing to race there.
Absolutely. That's my favorite North American circuit as well. High five, man.
Yeah.
I think that.
Anyway,
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's a fairly common, well-liked track between many drivers in the iRacing service and also the real-world drivers, as well as all the other drivers on various sims out there. As yeah, I'm going to bring you the final race results as that has just come through now. So Yasmin Yali takes the win for YLab Motorsport, 13 seconds ahead of Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira. For Macau Sim Racing, Mike Burdett. Actually, that might be the wrong race results. Apologies for that. 1 second. I should have. If I find the mouse, here we go. Yeah, sorry about that. Should be able to give you the proper race results this time. There we go. Yasmin Yali for YLab Motorsports takes the win ahead of Martin Salvasi for Trick Sim Sports, 3.7 seconds to the good there. Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira finishes third, 13 seconds behind our winner, Mike Burdett, after his late race spin. Championship leader finishes in fourth. Nirazem runs out the top 5 for YLab Motorsport. Chris Whitaker finishes in 6th place. Naranjan Kumar, our pole sitter for this event, eventually comes home in 7th place. Peter Klauter finishes in 8th alongside, just ahead of his teammate in Grant Crow. Tim Shinowski for Western PA iRacing team finishes in 10th place. Then we got the trio of Delta Sim Sport cars in Lachlan Crow, Alex Pohl and Leonard Coxey in 11th, 12th, 13th respectively. Paul Nelson up was at 12 positions to finish in 14th place. A solid result for him. Kevin Wang rounding out the top 15. Ben Wilkinson in 16th. Matt Chinosky in 17th. Daniel Leet finishes 18th. Fuji Saltano 19th. And Jamal Gandau rounds out the top 20. Stephen Grimmer for Velocity Sim Racing finishes 21st. Brian Renfors in 22nd. Paul Tajavara finishes in 23rd, 2 laps down. And our non-classified drivers in Corey Ott, Simon Jorge Sanchez, Matt Morris, Eusebio Gregori in 27th, Hugo Silva Jr. and Michael Hammond in 29th and rounding out the field.
Because by the looks of things, I think we do have a driver or maybe a couple of drivers who may be looking for some post-race interviews.
Yeah, I have put the Discord link in the chat for those that are tuning into the broadcast and would like a driver interview. As we'll bring up.
Should be Martin Silvassi, I think, because we are playing a guessing game. Should be Martin, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Right.
Welcome, and I leave you to the hands of Wei Han for the post-race interview then.
Thanks, Marco.
All right. Hi, Martin. Congratulations on coming on P2 on your race tonight. It has been quite an eventful race from our perspective here, from the commentators booth here. Of course, Suzuka it's one of those races where you have all sorts of intense racing. So, please share with us your race from your perspective.
Yeah, no, thanks. I was quite happy with my race, to be honest. I was struggling a little bit in practice and qualify, and all seemed to come good during the race. Race pace was pretty consistent, so I think I was able to build on my lap speed and slowly chip away on the people ahead of me. I just didn't have enough there just at the end there. You built too much of a gap at the start of the race and couldn't close it down time.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Because I do understand that you actually started from P8 or P9, and you've actually made a huge gate up, only shy of Justin Charlie, the race win. So, of course, congrats on your race again. So, can I please hand you over to Scott if he's got any questions for you?
Sure.
Yeah, congratulations, Martin, on the podium. Second place today. Obviously, as you say, that as the car went on, it got stronger and stronger. But did you expect to see the late pit stop today, or were you expecting a earlier pit stop due to the nature of Suzuka being in a high fuel burn circuit?
Well, I was sort of weighing it up. I was stuck behind some people for a few laps, and I thought, geez, might be a good idea to get in here. But I wasn't confident enough to know exactly where I was going to come out. So I didn't really want to bury myself too far down. So I thought, got past a few people and just stayed out. And I think that was the right call today.
Yeah, definitely. So coming to Road America next week, what are your thoughts heading into that race for your Trick Sim Sports car?
Yeah, I mean we do like Road America, so I think we'll be fairly competitive there. It's a great track, one of my favourites, to be honest. So it's nice and fast, flowing corners as well, and quite a lot of opportunity for overtaking on that track. So it should be a fun race to be part of, and definitely a fun race to watch for the people watching the broadcast.
Yeah, definitely. Just before we let you go, is there anyone that you would like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank our sponsors, HRS, Trick Fabrications, and all the boys at Trick Sim Sports for always helping out with setups and building such a great car.
No worries. Well, thanks very much, Martin, and we hope to see you next week for Road America. Is there a chance to see Anthony Winkelmann as well, or is it just going to be yourself next week?
No, I'd say there'd be a good chance of seeing us, maybe even a couple more. So we'll see how we go. And thanks again to Apex guys for broadcasting everything too, doing a great job.
Well, cheers for that, Martin, and yeah, we hope to see you next week for round number 4 at Road America.
No worries, guys. Thanks very much. Take it easy.
We'll bring up Peter Clawitz next. Driver come home in 8th place. Solid result for him, but unfortunately, after his P4 qualifying, managed to I suppose salvage a solid result. Welcome.
Right. We've just sorry. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Welcome, Peter, to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. Congratulations on your 8th place today.
Thank you.
But yeah, having said that though, looking at your qualifying, did you think that the result was good? Like, did you think that you could that you might maximise what you did after the mistake in the early laps?
Yeah, well, I don't think there was any mistake. I think going into turn 1, I think just proved again. It's just I checked it off as racing incident with Corey. It happens when we went into turn 1. He hit my rear right, spun me around. I think looking at the final result, I think I would have held P4 and maybe P3. Let's say I would have maximized that way. I would have been happy. But going to the tail end of the field after the spin, from last to P8, I'm more than happy and I'm proud of my achievement. I'm looking forward to the next race, and all I can say is, turn 1, lap 1, everybody just calm down and keep your horses calm until everybody gets into the flow.
Yeah, I noticed that with that German accent, are you racing from the European region, or are you racing from another part of the world?
We are racing from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
So my teammate Grant is from New Zealand, based in Dubai, and I'm German, based in Dubai as well.
Okay, so so how did you define the connection out there today? Because I know that racing in a European league, it can get quite hairy, but how did you find that today?
You mean from the quality of the race?
Yeah. Oh, like in terms of, like, was there not as like with the potential of netcode contact out there today?
I think to be yeah, I know what you mean. I think everybody who's connecting in such regions and servers, all of us who know iRacing, I think when you're going in, you know and you're aware. You just have to be aware of it, and you just have to be okay with it yourself. When you connect to these servers, regardless of the region people are participating, it might be friends participating in different regions, but you just got to be aware of it. And meaning that you get too close, netcode can just take you out. It's just the way it is. In your screen or in the other one's screen, it doesn't look like anything, not even close. But netcode will basically damage your race. Let's put it that way. So people have just to be okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's a fun league, in my opinion. The series is very much fun. It gives us potential, all of us, to gain experience, higher rating, lower rating, whatever it is. And then to prove yourself on track. I mean, it was just another show today. The guys who put their cars in P1 and P2 has nothing to do with iRating. It's just how well you can control the car. And as you said, netcode, it is what it is. Drive in Europe, drive in the US, it doesn't matter. As long as you're having fun and you know how to deal with the netcode, it's all good.
No worries. And Wei Han, do you have any questions for Pete?
Oh, sure, I have. All right, thanks, Scott. Peter, my man, how have you been doing, my friend?
I've been doing very well. Thank you so much. It's good to talk to you guys. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having us in the series. Much appreciated. We're having a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great to hear, man. Of course, I understand it was a bit disappointing for you from the start because you started from P4, a great qualifying position, by the way, but you dropped down. An unfortunate incident during lap 1, but you managed to make your way back up, and of course, we all agreed that was a great driving from you tonight. So, your thoughts? Any other thoughts on the race, especially relative to this track? Because I understand that Suzuka is not the kind of easy track.
I think lots of drivers, when you say Suzuka, their hair just stands up. A lot of people don't like it because it's just a very technical track. But I think once you have the flow of the track, and I think you just have to be very smooth with input, you actually do get to enjoy driving the car at the limit. And we saw, I think it was Kumar who put the car in P1. Hats off to his qualifying time. But as I said, it all boils down to, and it has nothing to do with iRating and how much you have driven. Lap 1, turn 1, 2, and so on until you're done with first lap. Especially on servers with netcode, you just have to keep an eye open. All of us, it includes everybody, myself. When you're getting close to somebody, you just have to know when not to get too close, hit the brakes earlier than the other guy and keep your distance. Otherwise, as I said, I loved the race. I enjoyed it very much. I was at the limits with everything I did. P8 was maximum I could get out. I was hoping for more, but I'm very proud of the achievement of my team, Grant, how we drove. All I can say is better luck next time, and we all learned. That's all I can say, but we appreciate it.
Absolutely right. Of course, you guys have done your best, and of course, it's a result that you guys are proud of, and of course, that's the best thing that you have been able to get out of this. And of course, next week we will be going to, I believe, Road America. Is that right, Scott?
Oh yeah, that's correct.
All right. So, any thoughts on that?
I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be another one where everybody gotta keep their eyes open, keep their feet on the brakes as well. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it, all of us. At this point, all I can say is thanks to you guys, what you do, the broadcast, the series organizers. We appreciate it very much. Yeah, that's about it. We're just looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good track. We love it.
Amazing stuff. Peter, congrats on the race again. Thank you so much for coming to the post-race interview. And mate, I hope to see you around again. Let's chat again soon, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, you guys. Wish you all a wonderful weekend, and thanks again. Take good care.
I think we have one final driver for the interviews. Should be Jamal Gandour. Hello there, Jamal, and welcome to the post-race interview.
Hello, thank you.
So, what an interesting race, difficult racetrack. How did you approach coming this week, knowing about the characteristics of this racetrack?
Well, I would like to thank you and thank everyone with Sim Racing Asia for organizing this, and I would like to thank my friend Peter who invited me and told me about the championship. And well, the race for me was difficult. Suzuka is a technical track, and I haven't been racing for quite some time now. But it's good to come back and do like a long race just like this one.
And what about next week when we will be heading to Road America? A very, very beautiful track. I think that the closest comparison you can make is with Spa-Francorchamps, the track that we were at last week in the Sim Racers Asia GTE Series. Do you look forward to that round in Road America?
Of course, Road America suits me way more than Suzuka because I simply like the track, and I hope I would be more prepared for the next round, because this one I've been a lot busy. I didn't prepare anything. I pretty much just jumped in and drove. I hope I didn't interfere with any of the leaders when it comes to blue flags. I hope I did well there, and hopefully I won't be in a blue flag situation next round.
Okay, I'm sure you're going to do fine. And before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to thank?
I would like to thank Sim Racing Asia for preparing this, and I would like also to congratulate my friends of Simsa for their results, Peter and Grant, and hopefully I can be much better in the next round, much more prepared and everything.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in the next race in a week's time.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I think I can call it a day, and you guys, I think, will call it a night, judging on the time zone difference. It's been a great round, and I am honest, I can't wait for Road America with all those long straights and difficult braking zones, twisty corners, fast corners. It's going to be an amazing spectacle, and hopefully we will have once again a very, very strong grid for next week's race. It's the second week I've covered this championship in a row, and I've had a lot of fun at Spa, had a lot of fun today, and hopefully a lot more fun as well at Road Atlanta. So I am Marco Barbanera, from Wei Han and Scott Newton behind the cameras, and not only behind the cameras, but also on commentary as well. We bid you goodbye, and of course we will catch you in the next few days. Of course, always something going on here on Apex Racing TV. Good night.